To the peasants of his day, you don't go to war, you get maturity. And when you put forth mature arguments, that's the best way to win. Of course, in those days it was divided, but what we're saying is that once the people have mature understanding, they can bring forth mature arguments, and there's a great big line then drawn, a great gulf appears. And we need to get back to that. We all need to get back to that. We need to wake up. In the coming days, we shall probably have ISIS coming back. I mean, she's been on holiday now for how long? How many months? It's almost a year. What terrorist organisation has a holiday? Come on. Doesn't that plainly speak to you that it is fiction, and that the bookmark has gone into on the page for the bedtime story to be continued later, whilst another story comes out, Putin and Brexit. Okay? And once they start to dissipate, then the bookmark will come out of ISIS, and then the story will carry on. Okay? But once ISIS has run its course, okay, when she, the ancient mother goddess of Egypt, has run her course, then they'll introduce some other one, okay, some other terrorist organisation. This is how it goes on. You know, you get your Red Septembers, and you get the Al-Qaedas, and they all dissipate, don't they? They all fade into the background. Like Boko Haram. Where's that? Maybe that'll come up again some stage. But they all fade back. The thing about Al-Qaeda is that they had to get rid of Al-Qaeda at the end because the governments, particularly the American government, saw that the people were catching on, that Al-Qaeda wasn't a real organisation. You see, they made a mess, didn't they? When the American government took down those two towers in that dreadful day, they took down the two towers. They presented the man, claiming him to be Bin Laden. He looked nothing like Bin Laden. The words that he was speaking had nothing to do with the Twin Towers. Pardon me. And they soon pulled it. People punching in out left, right and centre. This is all wrong. Where'd you get this from? And they pulled him. Then they gave a certain amount of time, and they gave the story out that they'd gone into Pakistan, they'd got this pigging fella, arrested him, took him aboard a ship, and dumped him in the ocean. He being dead, of course, shot dead in Pakistan, and dumped in the ocean. And people believed that was real. But as we say, the government at the time was caught out. And then people started to look at the years of footage of Bin Laden and finding a different person altogether. One moment he's young, one moment he's old, then he's back to being young, and all this was like, say, 1990, okay? He looks about 20. 1992, he looks about 60. 1994, he looks about 20. And he's giving these messages. And it just goes on and on. And it's different faces as well. Just like Malala Yousafzai, okay, from Pakistan, who played the part of being shot in the head, okay? If you look at her footage, that young girl who claimed to be shot in the head, if you look at her footage, just go to the internet, you will find that it's a different person that plays that character I mean, she becomes really old, in a sense, of comparison to her young age, when she goes to the UN and speaks. She's picking 30-year-old, but she's only supposed to be around about 14. And her face changes, and her family changes. Let us not be idle. Let us look these things up and examine all things to see if they be of God or if they be of the devil. It doesn't take much. You know, when souls are sitting in front of the TV, wouldn't it be better not to sit in front of the devil's vision? I know it's a hard day's work and all that, and we need to relax and wind down and have some distraction. But if we set aside deliberately as Christians an hour of an evening to take on a subject, and today we've all, basically most people have got the internet, and you take up the subject of Malala Yousafzai, put it in, Google it, bring up the pictures and see for yourself that this girl changes. Equally, as she's outside the school in Birmingham and saying that this is her school. Well, it should be in Pakistan, you silly sausage. Anything. Westminster Bridge. Okay? How you have officers with automatic weapons on the gates and yards away from them, according to the story that the government and media release. There are people screaming and shouting and running. The crowds are coming off that Piggin Bridge, and officers yards away don't see them and don't hear anything. And then all of a sudden a car comes round, approximately 50 miles an hour. They seem to be fixated on 50 miles an hour with cars. Comes round, screeches as he does this turn and hits the wall, a huge bang, feet away from the officers. The officers don't hear or see anything. You see what I mean by seeing things as they are, not as they are presented to be by the media? Look at the footage. The footage tells you they could not have been blind, deaf. Equally, in the latest one, there just happens to be at 7:17 in the morning a helicopter in the sky filming the front of the Palace of Westminster. Okay? It's only happened a couple of days ago. And picks up a car all of a sudden. Oh, a terrorist act. Wow, you know, in all the days, in all the months, at all the times, in all the years, this helicopter just happens to pick up the vehicle coming down. Okay? Equally, when you go to the ground, all the TV networks are set up. They set everything up before the officers actually get to the vehicle and take the person out of the vehicle. That was quick, wasn't it? They got the satellite dishes up, they got the tripods up, they got all the frigging cameras, the lighting boards up. But people believe this happens, and people will say, well, why did they do this? Well, it's simple. Think about it. Now this is where, you see, if we gather more light in, we gather more information in, we gather more wisdom and understanding in. And this we can't do if we've got this devil's vision, if we're going the way of the world. The point being is that Parliament, okay, having foisted all these fake events upon the general public, want the general public now, in two events, and specifically this one, to believe that Parliament is under attack as much as the general public, that they are not immune to being attacked. When in fact they're not attacked, neither is the general public being attacked. Another thing with Westminster Bridge, by the way, if you look at the pigging footage, at 3:20, okay, of that afternoon, footage from the sky, from a helicopter, down onto Westminster Bridge. This blistering sun, cracking the pavement. Then it cuts to the bridge itself, to footage on the bridge. And on the bridge, at the same time, 3:20, it's cloudy. So where's the sun gone? Then they cut to the side of Westminster. There's a police officer there shouting, turn back, shouting his bacon head off, going berserk. Okay, the road is absolutely soaked. There's umbrellas up. So within less than a minute, or call it a minute, it's gone from bright beaming sunshine to cloudy to having a rain-soaked road with umbrellas up. It's still raining. If that ain't a fake, what is? What they've done, of course, come on now, what they've done, they had a training course, an exercise, apparently 2 weeks earlier. So what they've done is taken that exercise footage and mingled it in with new footage on the day. Because it's cut and shunt, it goes from one scene to the next to the next. You can't do that with live streaming footage. It's just one live stream, one continuous flow. But what they did, of course, was, this is the giveaway again, you see, with cut and shunt, as they call it. You go from one scene, then you cut to the next scene, to the next scene, to the next scene, without any break. It's not going back to the studio and then going to somewhere else. It's cut in an editing suite. But it's supposed to be breaking news. You see the gives away? But you see, once this abomination comes into the house and it's ogled at, this TV, Devil's Vision, it does corrupt, and people are drawn in to the mindset of the world. And we shouldn't be. There are plenty harmless recreational things. But you see, at the end of the day, it's ordering our life. It's ordering it. Not like the world. I mean, there are some in the world. There are those few that have an orderly life and say, right, TV, bugger that out. That's won't have it in the house. Won't have it in the house. It's wasting my time. It's corruption. It's filth. Nothing to do with it. And they live quite happily. After a human manner. Quite happily. And profitably. And they will go and see maybe a film. Or they may go and get a DVD to watch. It's their choice. Put it on, watch it. That'll do for tonight or for the rest of the week. It's all there to be used properly. It's all there. But the vast majority of the world doesn't take control of itself, doesn't take control of its life, doesn't see that these things around them should be used sparingly, as though touching and yet touch not. You know, you can go out for a walk by the seaside, if there's a seaside there. I'll decide tonight I'm going to go down there, or I'm going to go down the park tonight. Okay? and so on and so on and so on. I'm going to watch Wallace and Gromit tonight. Okay? This is how it should be. We're not monks. We're not monks and shouldn't be nuns. But we should use things sparingly, wisely. We should be the understanding ones in this world. And it comes down to maturity. And education is the whole nub of the matter. We should be the best educated, most wise and knowledgeable souls in this world, so that we become pillars that people can lean upon. And those within our own society, the Christian society, should be able to lean on. Those that are young, lean upon us, ask us the questions, and we should be able to answer the questions. We shouldn't be going away going, don't know. We should be mature. Maturity comes when you live life and have lived life and have dealt with life and have matured through the cross providences and gathered along the way right knowledge, a balanced life, balanced thoughts, so that any person comes, we should be able to give them a reasonable answer as to what we believe and to evidence what we believe. We shouldn't be stuck. Maybe if there's something we're asked that is out of our field of knowledge, that doesn't pertain to our field of knowledge, we simply say, well, I'll go and check it. In the meantime, you check it and let's see what we can agree upon, if anything else. And that's how it should be. You look it up, I'll look it up. It's reasonable conduct, becoming a Christian. Let us try the best we can to obtain the mind of Christ. Of course, the best way to do it is to mull over scriptures, be attentive to scriptures and to reformed writings of others, and to question those reformed writings. And when we say reformed writings, not this dishwater that's tipped out today, dished out on me, but the likes of John Calvin, Luther, Matthew Henry. But we've always got to question. These are not our gods. These are men, just like us. They make mistakes, just like us. The wise are not always wise. We make mistakes. That's part of life, growing up. And admitting to our mistakes, correcting our mistakes, seeking not to go and make the same mistakes again. It's taking control. Not like the world, who excuses itself and therefore is childish. You can't grow if you're going to excuse yourself. And to excuse your children, my child's got ADHD. Oh, has he? Well, my child's got BBC. You throw all these names out. Excuses. And the thing is, the excuses become real. Who's got ADHD? And to that mind, they have ADHD. Attention deficit, ADD or whatever. All these frigging names they come out with. And you say to them, well, all you've got to pick and do is take them away from that sodding television for a start, take them away from the game station for another, take them away from the mobile phone for another. have personal contact with them and correct them. If they're playing up, you tell them straight. These things weren't around in our day when I was a child. But then you didn't have all these wicked devices that they've turned out to be. Certainly, absolutely, games, these internet, PlayStation and all this business, they're wicked. Absolutely of the devil. The internet is and can be used, and is so often used, as a piece of wickedness. Absolute wickedness. It is there as a helpful tool to look up matters, to study matters. But if that becomes the pig in life, and all these stupid beggars on social media, they've now increased, haven't they? I believe it was Facebook at the beginning, and then YouTube, and then you've got other packages. I don't know. It's just extended. Twitter is another one, and they've extended them because all the people pigging want is to go up at these things, waste their lives, waste their time. And do you know what happens at the end to those that waste their time on social media, they call it? You know what happens? They end up in the doctors. That's what happens. Antidepressants. Because the pigging life is given over to these things, and they see in the end, when God opens their consciences,